Hello, everybody. Today we're going to be comparing my design of Perry the Platypus to the Agent P design that the official Disney Heroes Battle Mode game has through its design, its skills, and its friendships. So yeah, let's just get started. First up, obviously, is the design, and I guess let's just look at mine here first. This is probably the quickest I've finished any of my Disney Heroes Battle Mode hero concepts. There wasn't a whole lot to the design I came up with for him. I really tried to stick to the style of the show, pretty much tracing an image of Perry, but we've got his tail up in the back. He's in a fighting stance, ready to throw fists. Just looking at the other one, as I'm talking about this one, we can note out to pay attention to the shape of my beak, the tail, and then obviously the stance that he's taking. Now let's also look at their design of Perry the Platypus, where again they went for this fighting stance form, although it's a different take. He's got one hand out and another one ready to punch. He has almost the exact same expression where he's kind of stern, looking forward. His beak is much more in the style of the rest of the game, where it's got some more harder angles, especially the front of it, I'd say, is the most important aspect that's different. And I guess I didn't mention this, but he is a little bit more thinner, I would say, here than on mine. Again, I was just straight up tracing a picture of Perry, so I would say a little too thin. But let's look at them here together so I can finally just straight out say, like, obviously theirs is so much better. I knew when I finished mine that it was pretty weak. I feel like even the color is a lot better on their Perry. I don't know how I didn't get that correct. Or maybe it is closer to what it is in the show, but it looks a lot nicer on their design. And just like the details are always nicer. They didn't go for like a furry look, which I think is probably the right move. Keeping him mostly in the style of the show, where he's just a smooth tube of teal. And then a little bit of shininess on the hat is really nice. Like, mine is just way too dark, I would say. I like how bright theirs are. It looks very nice. And the stance even is just way better. But I do love how in this image it almost looks like they're about to fight each other. Like, who do you think would win? Which one looks more capable of taking him down? Mine looks a little bit more beefy. He's got both fists ready to go, where this one is only going to fight with one, I suppose. But ultimately I think their design is better. In terms of who would win the fight, I guess we can move to the skills and see which skills each of them has. I guess I can just talk about each of mine and then also say which ones they have, because as you'll see in a second here, they don't really match up. The first idea I had was where Perry would hit a nail with his tail, which would fly at the enemies and like pierce them, which is a move from the first episode that he does towards Dr. Doofenshmirtz. There's also an animation of him attacking with his wrench that I mentioned that maybe could be like his initial just attacking skill, which is not the case. The only thing similar to that is the Platypus slap, where where Perry slaps an enemy with his tail. Which is like, of course, how did I not just straight up say that? How did I make it so complicated that he's going to hit somebody with a nail? I don't know. Whatever clips I was looking at for animations here, they were just not giving me the good stuff, because like the animations or the skills that they came up with for Perry in the official design are just so great. But yeah, that's the closest thing, is that he actually straight up hit somebody with his tail instead of hitting a nail into that enemy. Next up, I made one with a disguise where he turns into the platypus version of himself, which I'm honestly kind of surprised isn't a thing. I feel like even for his red skill, they could have referenced that, where he takes his hat off and pretends to be a normal platypus for a second. Could have had the same effects and everything. I don't know why. Because yeah, the red skill is the main thing that I don't like. It's called just Agent P. Which is like, I don't know, doesn't really add anything. It's the same name as his character. I don't know why they did that. So it would have been cool to see them reference that, because that is a pretty important part of his character. And I do feel like that's the one thing I have over the other stuff that they came up with. Next, I referenced Perry's jetpack, which they don't have anything with that. He does have a few moves with his gadgets. Like, one is his watch out, where he uses his watch to fire a laser at an enemy. Which, you know, he has a bunch of different gadgets, so I don't think it's necessarily out of the realm of possibility that they could have easily have made a move with one of his flying ones, because he does have a few different vehicles as well. And I'm honestly kind of surprised he doesn't use one of his vehicles in any of his skills. So I guess that is another one which is like, I think the one I came up with is fine. And almost surprising that he doesn't have a jetpack or his usual flying vehicle that he typically has in each episode. The next skill I have is he would suit up with some armor, and the specific clip I had was in the movie he puts on a bunch of sports attire, so like shoulder pads and a helmet, which is a very strange clip, and obviously they weren't going to include it. I was clearly just drawing at straws for something. I suppose we can compare that to the hazardous hat skill, where he throws his hat at the farthest enemy, which again is something that certainly happens a bunch of times, and I feel like I saw that animation and just chose not to include it, because yeah, that he does that a whole bunch of times to get out of traps, or even just to hit people. So it makes a ton of sense. And the other one that they have is the grappling grapple, which again, he uses the grappling hook a lot, so it certainly makes sense. And it's a fun animation, I think, too, where he swings across the stage at the enemies. Now, friendships is where I severely messed up, because again, they nailed the friendships too. I said the friendship should be the Rocketeer, and then a duck character, since they would both have bills. And then I also said Phineas and Ferb, because that's one of my previous concepts, but obviously Phineas and Ferb are not in the game, so can't really be compared. But I'm sure if they ever do get added, that Perry and them will be friends. It would be hard not to. The actual official friendships are Bolt and Kim Possible, both just completely perfect. Bolt is such a good idea. I can't believe that either I didn't think of it, or that like it would be really a missed opportunity if they didn't use Bolt. So I'm very happy that they chose that one. And Kim Possible just makes a ton of sense. I can't even believe I didn't mention it when I was talking about Perry, because of course Kim Possible. They're both secret agents. They're both TV show characters, of course. I think in every way they surpassed me on this one, which is usually the case for most of these. Sometimes I have a fighting chance with Daisy. I kind of liked how I came up with her stuff, and also our designs were very, very similar. And like my Horn King one, I quite like my Horn King one. So, and that way it kind of works well. But yeah, especially in design, I would say it's just so much weaker. It's almost sad to look at them next to each other here. Like it almost looks like a kid drew one and then a professional artist drew the other, which is sad, but it's all right. I have a bunch of different concepts that I'm much more proud of, and I'm okay with saying that Perry is definitely one of my weaker ones, which is furthermore shown by the actual official design. But let me know what you guys think. Like I said, who would win in a fight? I'm curious who you think would win, just based on their individual skills that I gave them. But thanks for watching, and I will see you soon. Goodbye.